The moment I shook Julian Vance's hand at the Summit Equity Partners Christmas Gala, alarm bells went off. His grip was too tight, an instant dominance play. His $5,000 watch gleamed under the glittering chandeliers of the Chicago ballroom, but it was the way his fingers lingered, just a fraction too long, on my wife Sarah's lower back that made my jaw clench. "Ben Carter," I said, keeping my voice even professional. "Good to meet you." Vance's smile was a curated facade. It never touched his cold, assessing eyes when he looked at me. But when his gaze shifted back to Sarah standing beside me, it transformed, becoming hungry, possessive. "Julian Vance," he murmured, his eyes still locked on her. "Sarah's mentioned you." He flicked a glance my way. "Data center construction, is it?" "Fascinating." The word dripped with condescension, making my role managing complex. Multi-million-dollar builds sound like assembling model kits. Before I could formulate a reply, he turned his full attention back to Sarah, that predatory glint intensifying. "Your wife is truly exceptional, Ben. A natural talent. Summit Equity is lucky to have her, though frankly she's capable of so much more." He leaned in slightly, invading her space. "I see very big things in her future with us." Sarah offered a tight, polite smile, her hand subtly finding mine under the guise of smoothing her dress. Her fingers squeezed. Our silent code, developed years ago. Trouble. I squeezed back, my own assessment solidifying. Vance wasn't just an overly familiar boss with poor boundaries. He was a predator. And he had just marked Sarah as his target. 6 months after the gala, Sarah walked into our Chicago apartment late, her usual calm replaced by a simmering fury beneath the surface. She dropped her briefcase heavily onto the kitchen island, then slid a small, expensive-looking jeweler's box across the counter towards me without looking up. I opened it. Diamond stud earrings glittered against the dark velvet lining. Definitely not standard corporate recognition for landing a deal. "What's this?" "Julian," she said, her voice tight with suppressed anger. "Appreciation for closing the Chen account." She pulled the heavy cream cardstock note from the box and handed it to me. Vance's signature was an arrogant flourish beneath the words. "A brilliant piece for a brilliant woman. You deserve far more beautiful things in your life, Sarah." My stomach clenched. This wasn't a thank you, it was a possessive claim disguised as generosity. "This is way over the line." "Oh, it gets much worse, Ben." She kicked off her heels with sharp, angry movements, starting to pace. He cornered me by the elevators, asked about our Caribbean cruise, probing for details. Then he had the audacity to suggest I hadn't truly experienced the islands until I saw them from his yacht, where I could be, quote, properly appreciated. The slimy proposition hung heavy and ugly in the air between us. "That's a textbook sexual harassment, Sarah. Crystal clear. We need to document this meticulously. You have to go to HR. Sarah stopped pacing and let out a short, bitter laugh. "HR? Ben, the department head practically worships Julian. Remember Maria Flores in corporate strategy? She made an informal complaint last year after he cornered her, got fired 2 months later for vague performance issues. Filing a report would be career suicide, and worse, it wouldn't actually stop him." "Then walk away," I urged, hating the thought of her enduring this. "Find a new job. Screw Summit Equity." Why should I be the one penalized for his disgusting behavior? Her eyes flashed with defiance. "I worked damned hard to get where I am. Besides," she added, frustration evident, "he'd badmouth me to every contact he has. He'd make sure I couldn't land another decent job in this city." She had a point. Direct confrontation through official channels was a dead end. This needed strategy, not just reaction. I moved towards her, taking her hands gently in to still stir her agitation. "Okay, you're right. We don't run. We fight." My mind began clicking through old protocols, dusting off skills from Army intel and private security work, threat assessment, counter moves. But we do it our way. Smart. Calculated Julian Vance thought he held all the power, that he was untouchable. He was wrong. He just made himself my primary target. My evenings became consumed by intel gathering. While Sarah expertly navigated the daily minefield at Summit Equity, I focused on Julian Vance, discreetly researching his habits, connections, and any past whispers of misconduct beyond the Maria Flores incident. We needed solid leverage against a man accustomed to operating above consequences, shielded by wealth and corporate power. My old skills from Army intel felt sharp again, honed by a clear objective. Vance, arrogant and predictable, provided the opening himself. "Guess what?" Sarah said dryly, walking into our apartment after work about a week later, the tension evident in her shoulders. "The crucial Grant Industries portfolio presentation dinner is set for this Thursday. It was supposed to involve the whole senior analyst team. And now, conveniently, it's just you and Julian," I finished, recognizing the isolation tactic instantly. "Bingo. And the venue? Aurelia?" The choice of the exclusive, dimly lit downtown restaurant, known more for romantic proposals than business presentations, screamed his intentions loud and clear. "This is it, Sarah," I stated firmly, my own strategies crystallizing. "This is our chance to get something undeniable. Time to deploy the shark." Marcus Thorne, my sharp-as-a-tack college roommate turned employment lawyer, had already reviewed the disturbing gifts and comments. His advice from our earlier lunch meeting was direct. "You likely have a strong harassment case now," he'd cautioned, "but expect a brutal, drawn-out fight based on testimony alone. Get me clear, unambiguous, recorded proof of him making an explicit advance, especially a quid pro quo offer, and we crush him quickly and decisively." "My attempts at phone recordings during meetings were useless, Ben," Sarah reminded me, frustration lining her voice. "Too risky to activate properly, and the audio quality was terrible." "Exactly why I sourced these." From my briefcase, I retrieved the discreet tech I'd acquired through a trusted former security contact, a small, modern silver lapel pin with an elegant geometric design and a sleek, matte black executive pen that looked perfectly ordinary. The pin houses a high-fidelity directional microphone. The pen contains a nearly invisible micro-camera lens. Both stream encrypted audio and video in real time directly to a secure cloud server using your phone's data connection. Only the three of us, you, me, and Marcus, hold the access keys. She picked them up, turning them over carefully in her hands, apprehension warring visibly with a gathering resolve in her eyes. "Actual spy gear?" "He's playing dirty, Sarah. We're just leveling the field with better technology," I countered quietly. We spent the next few hours meticulously refining the operational plan. Sarah would wear the devices, clipped unobtrusively. Engage Vance professionally. Keep him talking, let him reveal his true intentions, document everything. I would be positioned at a nearby cafe with reliable Wi-Fi, monitoring the live feed on a burner laptop. The code word texted directly to me if he crossed a definitive line or she felt genuinely unsafe. Showtime. What if he tries something physical before I can text? The fear underlying her anger was palpable and justified. "I'll be through those restaurant doors in seconds flat," I promised, meeting her gaze firmly. She took a deep, steadying breath, the resolve winning out, hardening her expression. Okay, let's do this. For us, for Maria Flores, for anyone else who couldn't fight back like this." Thursday night felt charged with anticipation. Sarah, looking composed and professional in a navy-sheath dress, discreetly attached the geometric pin and slipped the pen into her clutch. "Showtime," she murmured with a determined glint before heading out. I tracked her rideshare downtown, then settled into a coffee shop across from Aurelia, monitoring app open on my burner laptop, earbuds securely in place. The feed came alive as Vance greeted her at the entrance. "Sarah, absolutely stunning." His practiced, oily voice reached me clearly. The pen camera captured his possessive hand, guiding her towards a deeply secluded corner booth, bathed in intimate candlelight. Definitely not a standard business setting. "Thank you, Julian." Sarah's voice was cool, perfectly level through my earbuds as she took her seat. "Should we wait for the Grant Industries representatives?" Vance waved a dismissive hand, the smile not quite reaching his eyes on camera. "Ah, a last-minute, unavoidable change of plans. They send their apologies." Blatant lie. "But," he leaned in, lowering his voice conspiratorially, "it gives us a prime opportunity to discuss your impressive future at Summit Equity more personally." My knuckles whitened around my now cold coffee cup. The game was on. "My future?" Sarah kept her tone professionally neutral, adding just a hint of surprise. "I assume my performance reviews were positive." "Oh, they are. Exceptionally so." Vance purred, his fingers momentarily brushing the back of her hand before she subtly withdrew it. Perfectly captured. "So exceptional, in fact, that I'm strongly considering fast-tracking you for the Director of Asset Management position." Sarah allowed a beat of carefully feigned surprise. The director role was a major leap. But Julian, with all due respect, there are VPs with more seniority. Seniority pales against unique talent, Vance interrupted smoothly, his gaze locking onto hers. And I make the final call on key placements. I've decided you possess something quite special, Sarah. As if summoned, a waiter appeared with expensive champagne Vance had clearly pre-ordered. He insisted on a toast, waving off Sarah's hesitation. To your brilliant future! Sarah barely touched the rim to her lips. He then launched into his spiel, how she was underappreciated, deserved more than her current life offered. A woman of your caliber, he murmured, his eyes making an unsettled journey downwards, deserves the Riviera. Real jewelry. Access to a man who truly understands power and its rewards. The nauseating subtext was unmistakable. Him. The audio feed continued for another excruciating hour. Sarah masterfully deflected Vance's invasive questions about our marriage, his boasts about his yacht and properties contrasting sharply, with her firm statements about preferring promotion based on merit. He ordered dessert she declined. His frustration grew with his wine consumption. Then his voice dropped, captured clearly by the pin mic. I've booked a suite upstairs, Sarah. We could continue this discussion somewhere. More comfortable. My blood ran cold watching the feed. Julian. Sarah's voice was steady, carefully professional. I'm a married woman. This is a business dinner. Oh, come on, he scoffed, his hand boldly covering hers on the table camera. We both know Ben doesn't truly appreciate you. I see how you look at me. Sarah pulled her hand away sharply. You've completely misunderstood. His expression hardened. Let me be clear. The director position is yours. All you need to do is show me your commitment. His hand slid under the table, landing on her knee. The pen camera caught the movement. My phone vibrated. Showtime. I was out of the cafe and across the street in seconds. I pushed through Aurelia's heavy doors just as Sarah stood, telling Vance firmly to remove his hand. Is there a problem here? I boomed, striding towards their table. Head snapped around. Vance gaped, then flushed with rage. Who the hell are you? Security! I'm Ben Carter, I announced loudly. Sarah Carter's husband. I'm here because my wife just signaled her boss is sexually harassing her, offering a promotion for sex. Silence fell. The manager scurried over. Sir, perhaps discuss this privately. No, I cut him off. Privacy is what predators like Mr. Vance count on. Vance surged to his feet. You have no idea who you're messing with. I'll destroy you both. Sarah held up the geometric pin with steady hands, her voice cool and measured. Actually, Julian, we've documented everything, including your threat. She placed the recording pen deliberately on the table between them. Vance's face went white. That's illegal, he sputtered. Illinois requires two-party consent. Not when documenting criminal acts like quid pro quo harassment, I countered smoothly. There's no expectation of privacy for unlawful behavior. Our attorney, Marcus Thorne, has the full recording, and just so you know, the Chicago Tribune already has the highlights. The last of Vance's composure evaporated. You're finished, he snarled at Sarah, desperation cracking through. She didn't flinch. I believe you are. We turned and walked out, leaving him exposed. Marcus Thorne moved fast. Summit Equity's board reviewed the damning evidence. Vance's own words, crisp and undeniable. At the emergency HR meeting, with Sarah seated calmly beside him, Marcus played the most incriminating clips. Board members shifted uncomfortably, exchanging grim looks. Marcus laid out their options. A public lawsuit that would drag Summit's name through the mud, or immediate internal action. Sarah, he emphasized, wanted accountability, not destruction. The board folded instantly. By noon, Vance was escorted from the building on administrative leave. His termination followed within days, emboldening other victims to come forward. Sarah's position was not only secured but elevated with a substantial compensation adjustment, and the board issued a formal public apology, with no NDA to bury the truth. Vance's reign at Summit Equity was over, and as the whispers spread across Chicago's financial district, so was his reputation. Vance's termination from Summit Equity brought a tense quiet, not relief. Predictably, the retaliation started 3 weeks later. Anonymous emails began hitting Sarah's personal inbox. Attached were chilling surveillance photos. Our Chicago brownstone, viewed from across the street, Sarah walking to the L train, my car parked overnight. The accompanying text was brief but menacing. Actions always have consequences. Be careful. We immediately forwarded everything to Marcus Thorne, filed for an emergency restraining order, and notified the police. But Vance, likely using cutouts, was careful. The emails were expertly spoofed and untraceable. The photos, while invasive, weren't explicitly illegal. The restraining order felt like a flimsy shield. "What if this doesn't stop him, Ben?" Sarah asked quietly one night, the strain showing in her eyes despite her resilience. "Then we escalate our defense, staying smart, not angry," I reassured her, activating my old network. Within 24 hours, our home security was significantly upgraded. Reinforced entry points, motion-activated lights, high-res cameras covering every angle, linked to instant alerts on our phones. I also hired Leo Martell, the best freelance PI I knew, a meticulous and discreet ex-ranger, tasking him with protective surveillance on Vance himself. Leo's first report a week later confirmed my unease. "Your boy Vance is becoming unglued," Leo stated flatly over a secure line. "Drinking heavily, burning through cash, making rambling, angry calls. He's dangerously fixated on your wife, Ben. Blames her entirely for his downfall, feels entitled to payback. A narcissist stripped of power, the most volatile kind." Proving Leo's assessment, Vance struck again, this time legally. He filed a multi-million-dollar countersuit, alleging Sarah had pursued him, then fabricated harassment claims and doctored recordings to extort Summit equity. The claims were laughably false. We had verifiable original recordings, but the lawsuit itself was a weapon meant to inflict maximum stress and financial drain via depositions and legal fees. "This is what he wants," Sarah said, exhausted after another long strategy session with Marcus. "To keep dragging us through the mud, draining our resources, staying relevant in our lives even while he's losing. We're stuck reacting to him." She was absolutely right. It was time to stop reacting and change the damn game entirely. "We need to stop reacting to Vance's attacks, Sarah," I said decisively that night, laying out a new, proactive plan as she pored over legal filings. "He wants to drain us fighting his bogus lawsuit. Fine. We change the battlefield entirely. We build something of our own, something positive he can't touch." She looked up from the legalese, then stared at the document I placed before her. Carter Consulting Group Business Plan. Her eyes widened. "Our own firm." "Ben, are you serious? Now?" "Precisely now," I argued, tapping the key projections. "It flips the narrative. You have the financial expertise, the reputation, the client trust. Some will follow you, especially now. I handle the operations using my project management background. Plus," I added, "I've already discreetly confirmed interest from 2 top analysts who left Summit specifically because of Vance. They want to work with you." This plan wasn't impulsive. It was born from sleepless nights, needing a way to fight forward, not just defend. Sarah scanned the executive summary, her sharp mind quickly processing the strategy. Intrigue warred with caution. "Okay, the market positioning is smart, but the capital, Ben. Vance's legal onslaught and the new security system wiped out most of our savings." "Covered," I said, revealing my ace. "My Uncle David? The ultra-cautious real estate investor? Turns out he absolutely despises Julian Vance after they clashed hard on a development deal years ago. When he heard what happened to you at Summit, he offered to back us. Substantial seed money." I paused for effect. "And prime office space he owns downtown. Top floor of the Apex Tower." Her eyes widened again, this time in genuine shock. "The Apex?" "That's a ... Exactly. A statement," I finished, seeing the spark finally ignite in her expression. "We're not hiding. We're launching at the top." Excitement pushed back the exhaustion in her voice. "Okay, Ben. Okay. This could actually work." She came around the table and hugged me tightly. "You don't just protect," she whispered. "You build." The decision felt solid, empowering. The next day, Sarah submitted her resignation to Summit Equity, professionally citing the untenable hostile environment created by Vance's ongoing retaliatory lawsuit. Desperate to avoid more negative publicity associating them with Vance, Summit's board quickly authorized a generous severance package for her silence and swift departure. We accepted immediately, adding the funds directly to Uncle David's investment. Carter Consulting Group was no longer just a plan on paper. It was happening. We were finally taking back control. Carter Consulting Group launched strong. We focused on ethical work, and our client base grew steadily, fueled by Sarah's reputation. Meanwhile, Vance imploded. Marcus informed us his countersuit was dismissed with prejudice. More women filed complaints from his summit days. His personal life unraveled. His drinking became obvious. His new venture, Vance Strategic Holdings, flailed, resorting to undercutting us and spreading rumors, but failed to gain traction before another harassment suit hit him there, settled quickly, but adding to the stench. The final confrontation came at the Financial Literacy Foundation Gala. Sarah and I were networking when Vance appeared, looking gaunt, disheveled, reeking of scotch. "Well, well," he sneered, ignoring Sarah to focus on me. "Still riding her coattails, Carter?" She threw away a real career with me for this. Conversations nearby hushed. Sarah met his gaze calmly. "Julian, you're drunk. You should leave." "Leave?" He laughed bitterly. "After you cried harassment to get ahead." "Is that how you see it?" Sarah asked coolly, capturing the room's attention. "That your advances weren't predatory? I offered you everything." He spat, losing control. "You ungrateful—" "Enough, Vance." Arthur Pendleton, the respected council chairman, stepped between us. "You're drunk and harassing guests. Your behavior tonight confirms disturbing stories I've heard." He signaled security. "Escort Mr. Vance out." Vance deflated, rage replaced by pathetic awareness as disgusted faces watched. He went silently with security, shoulders slumped, publicly broken. 3 months after the gala and the final shoe dropped, an investor audit, triggered by his public disgrace and mounting legal troubles, uncovered significant securities fraud at Vance's defunct company. Facing overwhelming evidence and lengthy prison time, Julian Vance pled guilty. The sentence handed down was 5 years in federal prison. 5 years, I murmured, reading the news alert over Sarah's shoulder during breakfast. Seems almost quiet after everything we went through. Sarah nodded thoughtfully, putting down her coffee cup. "It's strange. I don't feel satisfaction, not really. Just sadness, maybe, for all the wasted potential." She looked directly at me. "We wanted justice, Ben, not revenge. There's a difference." She was absolutely right. And justice for us meant building something better out of the wreckage he'd tried to create. Carter Consulting Group was thriving, already needing to lease additional office space in the Apex Tower thanks to a growing roster of loyal clients who valued our ethical approach. More importantly, Sarah had also launched a small foundation funded by a portion of our profits, using our platform and connections to mentor and provide resources for women navigating workplace harassment, turning our painful ordeal into positive, tangible action. Later that evening, watching a vibrant Chicago sunset paint the sky from our back deck, I thought about how far we'd truly come. Fighting Vance wasn't a choice. It was a necessity for survival and integrity. He, the self-proclaimed alpha predator, ultimately destroyed himself. We endured, built an ethical business from the ground up, and were now actively helping others find their own strength and voice. That felt like the only victory that truly mattered. Peace, hard-earned and finally settled.